Hi lovelies, welcome back to the channel. So this is the end of my first week on Mounjaro and it's been a successful week. I have lost weight. I've lost 3.8 pounds so far. I think that's quite a good start to the week considering how the week has been. Biggest takeaways that I have for the week is that one, it works. Definitely all the research that I've been doing, everything about side effects or things to look out for, what you should be eating, everything that I've read so far that's out there has pretty much shown to be true. Cravings, I only had a craving once. I will go into detail later about how that came about, when it was and why I think it was. Food noise, I would say it's definitely quieter. It's a little difficult, it's a little hard to say just now exactly what's going to be happening with the food noise, but I do think there was a difference there. There were some queasiness. I think the biggest side effect that I had, and it was a bad one, was my sleep. It really disrupted my sleep this week. Again, I'll go into detail with that. Generally, how I've been feeling when I've been eating, like feelings of being full or feeling that you've had enough and that you don't want to eat anymore, that has been so wonderful this week. I really enjoyed that aspect of it, and I wouldn't say it took me by surprise, but it was really thrilling when it was happening. I'm going to do a full rundown of everything that happened in the week and then we'll sort of do a recap at the end. So you'll see from my previous videos that I was starting on Monday. So this was Monday the 28th of July. I received my package during the day. I hadn't received my sharp box. That eventually arrived on the Friday, so I'm fully set up. I've got all the equipment that I need. Monday night, well, there's a full video on what happened Monday night with taking the jab, and I'm actually quite looking forward to taking it tonight, knowing that it's not going to be as scary as what I thought it would be last Monday. But just to recap, on Monday I had my dinner around 6:30. I had a baked potato with a little bit of cheese on it, some tuna mayo at the side and a nice salad, and I ate all of that completely fine. I'm due to have that tomorrow and I'm quite intrigued to see how much I'll be able to eat or if I end up leaving any of it. I finished eating around 6:30. I took my jab around 9:15. I was in bed for about 10:30 and I woke up after 11 with such an alert, it wasn't a fright, I didn't have a nightmare, there wasn't any panic or anything, but I woke up suddenly urgently needing to know what time it was, and I usually don't check the time during the night when I'm sleeping, but I did check the time and it was only like 11:10, and I thought, I've only been sleeping about 40 minutes, like what's going on? Unfortunately, the whole night ended up being like that. I wasn't waking with frights all the time, but and I think fright is even too strong a word. It's just I kind of woke up abruptly. But I was waking up a lot throughout the night and it was a real disturbed sleep. I don't know. At this time, by the time I woke up on Tuesday, and I've already done a video about the morning after, I'm not sure if it was on my mind that I was trying to like listen to my body. Am I getting any side effects? Is anything happening? I don't really know what it was, but I had a crap night's sleep anyway. So that was Monday. Getting to Tuesday, got up in the morning, had a nice gentle workout. So far this last week, it's only 15 minutes that I've been doing in the morning. So there's 2 tracks that I've been listening to. One is 7 minutes, the other is 9. And the first 7 minutes, it's more just about getting my body moving, my joints and my body, my arms, getting lots of movement and fluid going in the body. It gets my heart rate going a little bit, which is quite good. And then when it comes to the 9-minute track, I'm using my resistance band and doing a little bit of strength training. So overall, at the end of the 15 minutes, I'm like sweating so badly, and which is great. It's good that I know that I'm making an effort, like that I'm pushing myself, even if it's considered gentle. But it's good to know that just in those 15 minutes that I'm getting movement, I'm getting my heart rate going, I'm feeling good about what I'm doing, I'm getting a bit of strength training as well. So they're all important. And just gradually over the weeks, I plan to increase the intensity and obviously the length of time that I'm going to be working out as well, focusing mostly on strength and toning to maintain my muscle mass. So I did that workout every day this week. So when I reference the 15-minute gentle workout, that's what I'm talking about. Now, I'm not a big eater in the morning time, and I was so aware that whatever I was going to eat in the first couple of days after taking the jab, that I potentially could be bringing on side effects, or I was just a little worried about how my body, not worried, that's too strong a word. I was being as cautious as possible, making sure that whatever I was getting was something that somehow my body was going to benefit from it, and to make sure that it was as gentle on my stomach as possible, and just really paying attention to see how I was going to respond and react. So I had a very light breakfast on the Tuesday morning, the day after. I think I just had a yogurt and a kiwi fruit. And for 10 minutes after that, there was a bit of queasiness. I think I spoke about this in another video, and that after 10 minutes, it went away. That was fine. I had an errand to run, so I had went out midday, and I was planning on going to my mum's after. My mum lives about a 5-minute drive away from me, and I pop over to my mum's a lot. I help my mum out a lot throughout the weeks. I was planning on going over to hers, but I decided to go home first instead and made sure that I had something to eat in case I got held up at my mum's. I came home and I had a chicken wrap. I think it was just chicken and salad. I think it was crispy chicken. I'm not sure. I can't really remember. I should really write this stuff down. I went to my mum's. She and I went out for a little walk, and as I was out walking around, maybe an hour after I'd eaten, my stomach was pretty queasy at this point. Just a little bit of discomfort going on, but that is not something that I am completely alien to. Because of the history of everything that's been going on with my stomach, I'm really used to having a lot of discomfort and queasiness and aches and pains. But it was nothing that I couldn't handle. It was nothing severe. There was nothing really new to what I was used to dealing with. So I was happy with that. I came home in the evening to have homemade soup. So it was homemade chicken and rice soup that has some carrots and turnip through it. And I made it extra brothy, so it wasn't too heavy, so that it was more liquid than anything else. And I toasted some sourdough to have with this. Now, a question I often ask myself whenever I have a big meal, if somebody took this away from you now, would you be bothered? Would you be quite happy with what you've eaten, or would you want your plate back so that you could eat more? When I sat down to have my soup, I had about a fifth of it, and maybe like a quarter of the sourdough toast. And I asked myself that question, and I thought, if someone took this away from me, I would not be bothered. I've had not more than enough, but I was looking at it thinking, you haven't had anything, you need to eat more. But I was really fine with it. And that was like a new sensation for me. It was really nice. And because I knew how important it was to make sure that I was getting food into my body and as much nutrients as possible, I think I ate another quarter of the soup or something. I ended up leaving half of it. I was really enjoying it, but I just didn't want to finish it. I was satisfied. It wasn't a case of that I felt overly full. I wasn't stuffed or uncomfortable. I just didn't want it anymore. So yeah. And then I had a bad sleep again on the Tuesday night. That was really bad. I was struggling to fall asleep, and then once I was asleep, I was struggling to stay asleep. I just kept waking up all throughout the night. But when I was awake, I wasn't awake for too long a period at a time. It was just, it wasn't good. So that was Tuesday. Getting to Wednesday, the day started out the same. So I did my gentle workout in the morning, my 15 minutes of movement and strength. And then I had a light breakfast again. I had a yogurt and a kiwi fruit. The reason I started with a yogurt and a kiwi fruit, yogurt is packed with probiotics, which are really good for your gut. When you're sort of waking up your stomach for the day, I think it's a really good thing to start with your stomach. And the reason I had the kiwi fruit is because they're high in fibre. Around midday, I was taking my mum to get her hair done. So I was dropping her at the hairdresser's, and then I was going to do some errands in our local town. And rather than driving my car around everywhere, I decided I'm going to walk everywhere. So that was quite a novelty. I had to make sure that I ate something before I went out. So I had some hummus and oat crackers. Trying to think, I think I had maybe about a third of a tub of hummus. Yeah, so I snacked on that. That was just something that I needed to kind of like grab and eat really quick before I was out the door. Yeah, so I dropped my mum at her hairdresser's and I was out and about walking, not very much, maybe a mile and a half. I was only out and about for about half an hour, but it was just nice to get out and moving around. Usually I have very little reason to park up and move around in the town. Usually when I go there, it's just the one place I need to go and that was it. But I had quite a few places to go this day. And it definitely helped that the sun was out and oh my God, I was sweating so much. I was so warm. I was really hot. And I thought, but this is great as long as I'm moving my body and all of this and that. So that was good. When I got back to seeing my mum, usually when I take her to get her hair done, we go across the street to a typical pub and grab something to eat. A couple of days before, I said to my mum, oh no, I don't want to go out for anything to eat. I don't want to risk having anything that's going to affect my stomach. I think she thought I was meaning I don't want to have a cheat day, and I'm kind of trying to tell her that I can't think of this with a diet mentality. This is more about learning to live a healthy, balanced life. So it's not that I don't want to go out to eat because I think I'm going to cheat or ruin my weight loss. I kind of kept explaining to her that if you eat the wrong things, once you've taken this jab, you could have serious side effects and it could really mess up your stomach. And I was like, I don't want to, I've already got enough issues with my stomach. I don't want to be risking it with anything else. But after her appointment, I thought it would be nice for her to stay out. That's what she's used to doing. So why should she stop it just because of what I'm doing? So I said, let's go there, then we can get something to eat. And I had a good look on the menu and there was just nothing that was really capturing my eye. Now, usually when we go here, I would have fish and chips. That's kind of my go-to sometimes when I'm eating out, especially in sort of like a pub. I don't seem to have any luck with steak. I don't like burgers. I'm not a big fan of eating burgers, and unless it's a McDonald's, I don't even think that really counts. I wouldn't like go to a restaurant and order a burger, but there wasn't anything that I wanted. I was looking at the light bites. I thought, what could I have? Just a little something to keep me going, to make sure that I've had something in my system. And I ended up getting chicken wings, which some people might be like, oh, that's like the skin isn't good and all of this kind of thing. I had chicken wings purely because I thought it's really important that I get my protein, and I'm really bad for protein. I'm great for having a low carb diet, for having lots of fruits and veggies, love my veggies and salads and everything, but I am really bad at protein. So that's what I had. But it was interesting that looking at the menu that I was like, nothing's really jumping out at me. I'm not thinking, oh God, I wish I could have this and I can't. Like, nothing. Took my mum home and I was with her for a little while, and the lack of sleep 2 days in a row was really starting to catch up on me. I ended up leaving hers and coming home for a nap. I usually don't nap after 4, but this was 5 o'clock and I was desperate. I was like, I so need to sleep. And so that was good. I had a nice half hour. My hair is driving me crazy. It's so flat at the moment and my roots are growing in. This is not my hair colour at all. I'm waiting till next week to dye my hair because me and my partner Billy are going away in 2 weeks. 2 weeks today till we go away. I'm so excited. More about that another time. Anyway, so Wednesday, I for the life of me cannot remember what I had for dinner. I was doing a video about potting on a lot of my houseplants. I knew I was going to be up quite late working on that, and I thought you really need to eat something. I think I ended up just having like a protein bar or something, and I was looking through the cupboard and I thought, this is something that I could be having in the morning with my yogurt. Protein bars, technically it's ultra processed foods, but I'm thinking, if it's an easy source for me to get protein into my body, then I might just take it for now until that's something that I can perfect at a later date. I was kind of hoping that when I go to bed, I hope I'm going to clunk out. My sleep wasn't as bad, but it wasn't great. It certainly wasn't back to its usual standards. So Yeah, moving on to Thursday, I wake up with a migraine. That's quite usual for me. I am a migraine sufferer. I think, like, on average, the last time I worked it out is that I get a migraine like 1 in every 4 days, and quite frequently I'll just wake up with one. And I do have medication that I can take, but it takes a couple of hours to kick in. Sometimes if it doesn't kick in, you can feel a bit kind of groggy and hungover. So I woke up with a migraine on Thursday. I took some of my tablets right away and pushed through my morning workout. God, I really didn't want to do it. And I thought, don't stop now. It's only been a couple of days. For breakfast, so I had a protein bar and I had some of a kefir yogurt drink. So kefir is just like yogurt, except it's got even more probiotics in it. It's got a yeast that's added, I think, or is that a type of barley? I can't remember now. It has like way more probiotics in it than a regular yogurt, and I have one in a drink. You can get it in yogurt format or you can get it in a drink, and it's really good at the drink if you're rushing out the door or you're about to have something and I think, oh, I haven't kind of prepped my stomach yet. I can just have a couple of swigs of that, and that's good. That helps get the stomach going. Thursdays is when I do all of my food shopping. So I collect my mum, we go out, we do our food shop, we go to 2 shops. In our area, I go to Aldi and to Morrison's. We'd done the shopping, I took my mum home, came back and unpacked everything and put it away. I was planning on having a smoothie with some protein powder in it. I hadn't prepped it in time. I was using frozen fruits, and usually I like to let it sit for an hour so they can defrost a little. I hadn't done that, so I prepped my smoothie and then I went for a nap. I was so tired, and I think I laid down for like an hour, but you'd be lucky if I slept 15 minutes. I just couldn't seem to calm down enough. It's like my brain wasn't really active, but it just wasn't switching off enough for me to sleep. It was really, really frustrating. But I got up and I had my smoothie, and then I was quite productive after that. I made some mushroom soup and I'd bought some pears, which I peeled, chopped and stewed in water and cinnamon to use for my breakfasts over the next couple of days. And then Billy came home, and that was nice. Billy works away and he comes home from rotation on Thursdays, every second Thursday. So he came home on Thursday. I had my mushroom soup, he was having a pizza. And yeah, and I think my sleep that night was slightly better. I don't know if it was because it was later in the week and the drug was wearing off a little. Don't know if it was because I'd been quite active during the day. I'm not entirely, or maybe because I was eating a little bit more, I don't know. But I was definitely thinking, as I was recapping how my week had been so far to Billy, that I was saying to him, I'm really not eating a lot at all. Like, I'm really just eating tiny amounts. And I was being cautious. I was wanting to make sure that I wasn't hitting my stomach with anything that was going to cause any major side effects. But then I was thinking, I haven't really had any queasiness since the Tuesday. So I said to him, I really need to start making an effort to be eating more and just making sure that everything that I'm eating is something that's going to be good for me, something that's nutritious, something that my body will thank me for, and just sort of be mindful and see where I go with the portion sizes. So that was Thursday. Get to Friday, and I woke up again with another migraine. I didn't take a tablet right away. I decided to do my workout. So I did my 15 minutes movement and strength in the morning. I then had a shower. Sometimes having a shower, the temperature control sometimes can help when a migraine's just threatening. Sometimes that can just be enough to stave it off. But oh my gosh, I'd showered, I got my coffee, I did my morning meditation. And after that, I thought, nah, do you know, it's not going away. I'll take my tablet, and boom, like the instant I took my tablet, my migraine came in full force. I felt really, my head was just pounding. When I get migraines, it really affects the right side. So it's the base of my skull here. It's all in my eye socket and at my temple here. And it was just throbbing. It feels like you've got a clamp on your head. It was really horrible. And I was very aware that I needed to eat something, but I felt really quite sick. And again, I'm thinking, is that because of the Mounjaro, or is that because of my migraine? Because I get very nauseous with migraines. I'm never actually sick, but I do feel really nauseous. So I'm not quite entirely sure what it was, but I decided I'll go downstairs, and thankfully Billy had work to do upstairs, so I got to lie on the couch and I laid there for I think over an hour, and I didn't feel that much better. I didn't really sleep. I think I slept for maybe 15 minutes, and I was like, you need to get up. I was like, I've got shit I need to do today. Like, I've got a lot I need to do today. I had to pop back out to Aldi. I was wanting to quickly go to the sunbed. I was planning on cutting the grass. I got up, I made myself something to eat. And this is where I made what I call my kefir bowl. So it's about 2 spoonfuls of the stewed pears, which I then heat up in the microwave just slightly, just so that they're not fridge temperature. I like them to be a little bit warm. And then I put some kefir yogurt on top. I add blueberries, pomegranate seeds, pumpkin seeds, and crushed up pecans scattered on top. And I just mix the whole thing together, and it is so tasty. It's a wonderful way to start the day. You're getting so many probiotics, you're getting lots of different vitamins and minerals from all the different things in it. It's just a bowl of goodness. It is so good, and it looks good as well. So I need to get more pears this week when I go shopping. So I will try to film the process so that you can see what a kefir bowl looks like. It's really good. I really like it. And Billy's daughter likes it as well. Sometimes when she's here at the weekend, I will make that for her. Although I made it for her on Saturday and she said that she didn't like the pear. I could have swore she'd had it before. Anyway, so I then decided after this is about 1 o'clock, I then decided to pop out for errands, and this is where my day just went from being a little bit bad to being really bad. And so I went from a sunbed, and that was totally fine. And then I was walking over to the shop. I deliberately parked in a different car park so that I would be walking around more, just because I enjoyed walking around so much on the Wednesday. So I thought rather than park and drive in one place and then park over to another, I was like, I just used like a central car park and was walking about the place. So there was me. I was thinking all was right in the world. My head was getting slightly better. I get into Aldi. I wanted to pick up some celery so that I could make some lentil soup, and I got my chicken. So it's the diced chicken in the frozen section. It's easy for portion control when you're cooking for one. So I thought, right, I'll grab some bags of these. I go to the queue and I'm like, why is there a queue? This is Aldi. Aldi don't do queues. Like, workers that's there that I know of was saying to everyone, our card machine is down. It's cash only. And what have I got? Just a card. And I remember picking up my wallet in the house thinking, should I just take my purse or will I just take a card? And I was like, just take a card, because I don't want to take a bag. Just keeping it nice and light. And I was like, if I just took my purse, I would have had the cash. Everything that I'm buying here is like less than a £5. And I'm like, oh, okay. And I thought, I'll just stand in the queue. It'll only take about 10 minutes and it'll be up and running again. It turns out it was the entire card system of the UK, not just Aldi's system, but it was everywhere. And I was like, okay. And everyone that was in the queue in front of me were all rushing out to the nearest cash machines. I had a credit card on me. I was like, I'm not going to a cash machine to buy this. I was like, I'm just going to have to do without. My mum had messaged me. So when I was walking back to the car, I was on the phone to her. She was having a difficult time with her dentist. So I was listening to her woes. And I'm in the car and I'm so livid. I'm thinking I needed that chicken for my dinner and I really do not want to go back out again. Just with how I was feeling with my migraine, I was just so angry. My mum's like, what's going on? You're awfully quiet. And I was like, I'm in a really bad mood. I was like, I was just in Aldi to get some chicken. The flipping card system isn't working and that. And she's, oh, I've got chicken. You can come to mine and get chicken. I was like, fine, I'll come to yours. And I was so grumpy. I was messaging her later, like, I'm so sorry, I was so grumpy. I was in a bad way. I finally get home and Billy's looking at me like, where the hell have you been? I'm like, you will not believe. I was like, I just wanted some chicken. It's just what an absolute disaster of a day. At one point I went up to give him a cuddle and he kind of gave me a look as if, what's wrong with you? And I was like, honestly, my head is so bad. I feel like I could cry. It was really bad. And this whole time I'm thinking, is this because of Mounjaro? Like, what is going on? So my period was due on Monday. This is Friday, and it was due the following Monday. And it is very common for me to get migraines on the leading up to my period. So I thought, is it to do with that? Is it because of the Mounjaro? Is it because I'm not eating enough? Am I not drinking enough? Like, what is going on? Just all these things were going through my mind. And about an hour later, after I'd eaten, so I think I'd come home and I'd had some more of my mushroom soup with sourdough, a much smaller portion to what I'm used to having. Yeah, I'm used to having like 3 ladles, maybe 3.5 ladles worth, and I was only having like 2 to 2.5, and much less sourdough than I normally would have as well. It was so tasty. It was really nice. And then an hour later, I got my period, and I thought, right. And even Billy said, is that why your migraine's so bad? I said, it must be. I don't know if the Mounjaro's making it worse. I says, occasionally I will get like really bad, like I'll usually get migraines that for me is kind of the norm. And then every now and then I get one that just really kicks my ass. And yeah, and he was like, well, maybe it's so intense because like it's happened today. Like you're like, it's not in the lead up to, like today is your period. And maybe that's why it's so bad. I was like, it must be. So I was even more miserable after that. I thought, I'm not cutting the grass. I'm not doing anything. I was like, I'm feeling like crap. And so he went away at dinner time to his parents' house to see his kids as well. So that's like our usual routine. He'll come home on a Thursday, and then on a Friday goes to his parents, gets his kids, and then they come back and stay at ours for the weekend. That's what happens every second week when he's home from rotation. And my plan was to have a chicken stir fry, and I really just wanted to make enough for me. And I'm thinking, I'm not used to doing this. Usually when I'm cooking, I'm used to cooking bigger meals. I'm used to cooking enough to have like a portion at another time, or like I'm cooking it for 2 people or for 4. And I was like, but I really just want to make a stir fry for 1. And I did. And it was really good. It was great. I even made a homemade sauce with it. So I will show a picture of what my meal looked like. And so it had chicken. Oh my God. So it had chicken, pepper, mixed peppers, courgette, and sugar snaps. I was supposed to put edamame beans in, totally forgot. I've never used them in a stir fry before. I bought them, they were in the freezer, I completely forgot about them. I was also supposed to sprinkle sesame seeds on top at the end, and I forgot to do that as well, so I was very annoyed, very annoyed. And then, but oh, it was so tasty. And in my sauce, what did I do? So I had honey, tomato puree, lime, and soy sauce. Just mixed all of that up and chucked it in at the end to heat it through, served it with rice, and I ate the whole bowl. I was looking at the bowl and I thought, this looks quite like substantial, looks like a good enough meal. I think I've portioned it quite well, don't think it was too much. And it was really tasty. Oh my God, it was so good. So I'm definitely going to be making that more. Hopefully next time I can film it so you can see. And then that evening we watched a movie with Billy's daughter, and it was the new Happy Gilmore 2. It was actually quite good, didn't mind it, it was quite good. Had quite a lot of laughs. And I think I had a few snacks, like a few sweet things, like I think I had like some chewy sweets, just like chewy fruity sweets. And I had like a yogurt breakfast bar. I think that was it. And my sleep that night, again, it wasn't vastly improved. It wasn't up to my usual standard, but it was a lot better than it had been. So get to Saturday, I wake up again with a migraine, take my tablets right away. I'm not doing a workout today. Billy's daughter is off for the day with her friend, so we only had her for breakfast this time. I made us both the kefir bowls. They went down really well, although she didn't enjoy the pear. And for lunch, I was supposed to have a salad. I was supposed to have chicken Caesar salads. I was planning on making that for me and Billy's daughter, but she was away and I was making him a wrap, and I ended up making myself a chicken wrap. So I had a wrap with, I had red pepper hummus as a base, lots of salad, lettuce, tomato, cucumber, and it was peri peri chicken cooked from frozen from Aldi. Really nice, really tasty, and some mayonnaise on top. So I really enjoyed that. That was good. I think it was before lunch. I was out, yes, it was about midday that I went out to cut the grass, cut our front and back grass. That takes about 45 minutes to do. And then I went around the garden, did some deadheading and checked on how all my plants are getting on. I'm hoping to do a lot of gardening videos. So if you're into gardening, please come back to watch. I love my garden. I'm obsessed with gardening. I love gardening. Oh, I could talk about gardening all day. I'd cut the grass, did some deadheading. I then made our lunches. That's when I had the wrap. And then I just sat in the sun. Oh, it was so nice. The weather was so nice on Saturday. It was about 20 degrees, maybe more, maybe early 20s. And there was just the right amount of a breeze. And I just laid in the sun, listening to my book for hours. And I was sort of just dozing off every now and then. I sort of just kept going in and out of a nap. Even then, when I came in, I said to Billy, I was like, I'm so tired. I just wish I could have proper closed my eyes for 10 minutes, just got like solid sleep for 10 minutes. But yeah, and then for dinner, so I was making us mince with mashed potatoes, so beef mince. I cook that in a slow cooker with chopped frozen swede and peas. That's usually something I'll make when Billy's kids are here. I didn't know that his daughter was away for the day, and I says, well, we'll just make it for us anyway. And this was where I was like, okay, do I plate myself a smaller bowl, or do I just plate my usual and see how much of it I can eat? And I decided to do the latter. So I plated up my usual bowl and I was eating away. I did actually say at one point, I don't think this is my best batch of mince. It wasn't. I just think flavour wise, I don't know what had happened. Probably needed more beef stock. It just wasn't, I wasn't enjoying it really. And I'm like, is that because I've made it poorly, or is that because I'm not interested in eating it? Like, I don't know. And unfortunately, Billy was a little bit ill this weekend. I think he picked up a bug from his work and his taste buds were a bit funny. So he was like, I'm not really feeling it that much either. So not a very good meal from me. And, but I think I left like a fifth of it, where I was just looking at it and I thought, you could eat it to clear your plate, because I grew up in a clear plate household. I was like, I was sort of looking at it and I was like, do you want it? Not really. If you had to eat it, could you? Yes, but you don't have to, so don't eat it. And I was like, if you just leave it, are you happy? Are you satisfied? If someone took your plate away, would you be bothered? And I'm like, yeah, do you know, I was like, I'm just going to leave it. I'm just not going to eat it. And I was like, oh my God, that just never happens. That like never happens. I have battled a lot over the years with the whole clean plate household, and it's where I really try to get to grips on my portion control, so that if it's a proper portion, it's okay that I clear my plate and I'm not forcing myself to eat, or, you know, and all this kind of thing. The whole, like, if I put food out for me or for others and there's food left on the plate, I'm like, what's wrong? Like, what's happened? Like, why don't you eat it? You know, I mean, God, I sound like, oh, I sound awful. I sound like a food police. I'm not like that. I'm really not, and I don't want to be. Yeah, that's like deep-rooted shit that I need to work on. But yeah, so I was fine after that. But I think about half an hour later, we were getting ready to sit and like chill out and watch TV for the evening. And I was craving something sweet. And I said to Billy, I don't know. I says, I think the jab might be wearing off. He's like, what do you mean? And I said, well, because that's what happens. I think it's more intense at the start of the week, but towards the end of the week when you're due to take your next one, it's not as effective. I think the effects of it wear off. I says, and I'm only saying that because for the first time I'm craving something sweet, where usually I would always have in the evening, like allow myself to have a packet of crisps and some chocolate all week. I hadn't had any because I wasn't wanting any. But I was like, I'm really wanting something sweet at the moment. And I don't know if it's because the jab is wearing off, or is it because I'm on my periods. But on reflection and later on in the following day, I was able to figure out it was just because of my period. I think like I usually like up to a week before my period is due, I can start craving food like mad. And mostly it is sweet things that I crave and that I go for it as well. I hadn't had that all week. And then, like I said, I was on my period. So I think it was just to do with that. Went to bed that night. Again, the sleep was better than it was the night before. Woke up on Sunday, didn't have a migraine, but I didn't have a workout either. The last couple of weeks on Sunday mornings, we've been having bacon sandwiches as just like a little bit of a treat at the weekend because we don't eat bacon any other time. And I was a bit, I don't know how I'm going to go with this. I thought earlier in the week that I was maybe just going to make myself half a sandwich rather than a full sandwich. But when it came to making it, I was like, I am actually quite hungry. Like, I do want to eat something. And I'm thinking, oh, there we go, definitely. Like, the jab's worn off. Here we go. Like, it's going to ruin my day and all those kind of thoughts. But that wasn't the case at all. And I had a bacon sandwich, and afterwards, I was actually full. It was the first time all week that I actually felt full, like, oh, my stomach is bursting full. But it was also the first time that I'd had white bread. So I don't know what that could have been. Maybe a little bit of both. I'm not sure, but yeah. So I was really satisfied for a long time after that. Wasn't thinking about food. I was thinking about Billy and what he was going to be having because I usually make all of his meals, and I was getting some pain on the right side, which I'm cautious. That's where they talk about the potential of having gallstones, but I think you will only be getting gallstones if you're losing weight really rapidly. So I was trying not to pay too much attention to that. Again, I was supposed to be having a salad for lunch because I didn't have the chicken Caesar the day before. And I thought, well, I'll need to make sure that I have it today, but I just wasn't feeling it. And I think because we got up a little bit later and that I knew we were going to be having a bigger dinner, and I thought I don't really want to eat just now for the sake of it and potentially ruin what I'm having later. So I ended up just having a kiwi fruit, but in hindsight, I should have had hummus. I should have had crackers or peppers dipped into hummus, but I didn't. And then for dinner, so we were having, this is a meal that we have quite a lot. It's called Yama chicken. I'll do another video on that. But it's chicken thighs with carrots and courgettes that's cooked in a slow cooker. And when it's finished, it's got a sort of creamy garlic sauce to it. And I cook that with, usually I get jacket potatoes, cut them in half and roast them. But this time I got like new potatoes, not the mini ones, they're sort of like a handful. And I just cut them in half and roasted them in the oven. They turned out lovely, and I serve it with a tomato. And garlic bread, and usually we have garlic bread on the side. And we were eating this. Billy wasn't feeling great. He was quite feverish throughout the weekend, and his appetite was kind of all over the place. But I was eating, and I thought, I really want to enjoy this, and I am enjoying this. And I was like, are you really going to be pushing it to finish the plate, or just are you going to stop eating until you're satisfied? And it got to the stage where I was like, I think I'm good. I think I left about a quarter or a fifth of what I would normally have. The biggest thing for me is that I hate food waste. I hate waste just in general. Sorry, that sounded bad. I hate waste that isn't disposed of properly. I'm very into recycling. My work history is something to do with that as well. I really hate food waste, and I was looking at both of our plates. He couldn't finish his either, and I was kind of like, this is just something you're going to have to deal with until you get to grips with how you're going to be eating from now on. So I didn't let that discourage me too much. And then to top it off, on a Sunday evening, I had the worst sleep. And that's not strictly unusual. It's been ingrained in me from working in the corporate world that I always dreaded Monday mornings, and I never slept well on a Sunday. And even though I'm not working in corporate at the moment, I still sleep really bad on Sundays. Billy generally tends to sleep bad on a Sunday as well because he needs to get up and fly off to work. The pair of us, oh my God, so bad. Such a bad night's sleep. I nearly went into one of the kids' rooms. I did that, I forgot to mention, I did that on the Friday night. just because my restless legs were kicking in, and I was worried I was going to keep Billy awake. So I ended up going into one of the kids' rooms and eventually got to sleep. But Sunday night, oh boy, that was bad. That was really bad. So then we get to today. Here we are a week later, and I had my morning weigh-in. And considering that yesterday I didn't do anything, it was kind of a lazy day in the house, just sort of, I mean, I was busy in the kitchen. I was doing a lot of cooking and prepping around, cooking Billy's lunches for his work and our dinner and everything. I didn't really get an awful lot of activity in for the rest of the day. So I was surprised when I weighed myself and I'd lost. Like I'd lost from the day before. And then when I put the details into my tracker file and saw that I'd lost 3.8 for the week, I was like, oh wow. I was like, that's really good. That's actually better than I thought it was going to be, because I don't know how smooth my first week has been. I've been kind of a bit indecisive with the food, a bit too overly cautious. And I think I would advise everyone to do that in their first week. I'm not an expert and I'm not a health advisor. If anyone was to ask, my advice would be really gentle in the first week. Make sure that you're not going to have anything that's going to be a shock to the system or anything that's going to trigger a side effect. You know, if you do have side effects, I think you want to look back and be like, but it wasn't anything that I did that caused it. You know, you want to be as cautious and careful as possible. But yes, so I had a good weigh-in this morning and I did my workout again. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm maybe going to do a video later of my second jab. I don't know if I will, because Billy's here. He might want to see. I don't know. I'm babbling now. So recapping the first week. So definitely eating less. My portions have absolutely changed. Because I'm being overly cautious, it's making me pick my meals more like thoroughly and making sure that I'm choosing what's best for my body at the time, whether it's something that's going to help my gut, or is it going to be high in fibre, has it got enough fruit and veg, has it got protein, making sure that you're ticking all of those boxes. Yeah, I don't really have much else to say just now. So let me know what you think. Let me know if you relate to any of the side effects. Yeah, I'm not really sure what else to say here. So thank you so much for watching. If you watch this to the end, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave any comments if there's anything that I didn't pick up on that maybe I could answer next time round, or anything that you want to hear that I didn't cover, let me know. Definitely tune in. I might be doing a video about dyeing my hair. My hair looks awful at the moment. So yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this and look forward to seeing you next time.